Watch this video if you want to learn what are 6 reasons why you are always choosing the wrong partner for you. For the best relationship and dating advice, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification to be notified every time I upload a video. My name is Dana and I have a website called Better Topics that is dedicated to helping couples experience more love, joy and connection. And now let's get into our main reasons why we tend to choose the wrong partner for us. Obviously, there can be many other reasons why we do that, but most of them actually stem into early childhood experiences. And the reason for this is because when you're a baby, you don't really know much about this world. You just came into this world, so you're just starting to learn how everything works and what is happening around you. And usually our parents are the first ones that we witness and the relationship they have with us and between themselves as well. So most times, everything that we learn first from our family and immediate friends and extended family is what we tend to take for granted. And it is only later on in life when we actually can decide whether we want to follow the same pattern or make an effort and change it. But let's get into what are the main 6 reasons why we tend to choose the wrong partner for ourselves. Reason number 1. We aren't a friend to ourselves. This usually happens when we tend to meet people that really don't care that much about us, or they don't really put so much of an effort to being with us, but then we still try to behave very nicely towards them and be very kind and compliant and just hoping that they might change and come around, like a child that actually hopes that by getting good grades and being very compliant with all the rules that their parents told them to do, they hope that their parents won't divorce anymore and that one of their parents won't leave the house anymore, because if they are good enough, they will be able to make that parent stay. Pretty similar when we are not friends with ourselves really, and we rely so much on what other people think about us. We tend to be compliant with all their rules, and even if these might seem absurd, even if they might just tell us a bunch of things just because they want to get rid of us, but because we don't want to be left, basically, we are willing to go through a lot of heartache, just to make them stay. And this actually takes me to reason number 2 why we tend to choose the wrong partner for ourselves, which is we hope too much. As a continuing from my previous reason is that if we are compliant enough for long enough, then our partner eventually will see that and they will stick around and maybe even start to love us. And this again stems back to our early childhood, when we have been preconditioned that if we behave in a certain way, usually the way our parents told us to, for long enough, then they will actually love us. Therefore, you see, this habit is actually learned quite early and it is quite difficult to unlearn it really. But it can be done if you're willing to put in the effort. The third reason why we tend to choose the wrong partner is because we are really scared to be alone. Now, this tends to happen when we don't really like to be, left alone with our own mind and our own thoughts. We therefore tend to always need someone in our life, usually to either make us busy or to be able to focus on them rather than our own issues and our own problems. Therefore, we tend to be in a relationship with anyone just so we are not alone. And many times we disregard any red flags that there might be, or even, sometimes even an abusive partner. Some people actually don't mind an abusive partner as long as they're not left alone. I know it sounds a bit crazy, but it happens more often than you think. Reason number 4 for why we're choosing the wrong partner is because we tend to find kindness boring. Now, this as well is rooted in early childhood when, maybe our parents or our caretakers couldn't really express their love properly, or they didn't actually know how, and they just ended up being mean at times, hoping that although we are children, we might understand, what's happening. But as a child, what we've learned is in these situations that for someone to actually love us, they have to be somewhat mean towards us. I know it sounds a bit twisted, but As a child, if that is the only thing you know, and as a child you're expecting, for people to love you, and if the people that should normally love you, the only way they express that love is through, being mean towards you, your belief is from that point onwards that if someone truly loves you, they have to somewhat be slightly mean towards you rather than kind. Therefore, we would tend to find kind people boring because they don't inflict the same type of pain or suffering towards us as the one we are used to. I know it sounds a bit twisted and crazy that some people enjoy it when other people are mean towards them. But if you think about it, it's quite similar to drug addicts to a certain point. Because, drug addicts, although the body itself knows that the drugs are bad and they're harming them, it is their own body that eventually craves those drugs, because although it is something bad for the body itself, but at least it is something known. Therefore, if all we know is that people tend to be either aggressive or mean towards us, and that's how they show love, and we accept that as a belief at an early age, we continue to believe that in adulthood as well, and therefore we continue to choose partners that keep being mean to us. Now also, because as children we are somewhat programmed to love our parents, and we cannot really find any fault in them, although they might have some, but as children we really love our parents, and it's very difficult to accept that parents sometimes are wrong. We tend to find fault in ourselves rather than in the way our parents love us. Therefore, in a situation where someone finds kindness boring and they tend to choose partners who are mean towards them, although we do realize that they are mean to us to some extent, we tend to think that it is our own fault, that we have done something that has triggered that, rather than them not being the right person for us. And again, we end up choosing the wrong partner who are mistreating us purely because that is a familiar feeling rather than a kind one, because we are not familiarized with kindness in love. Reason number 5 why we tend to choose the wrong partner for us is we hope we have the power to improve someone, and also we might be slightly workaholic. Now let me explain how these two things go hand in hand. Now, especially if we are very hardworking people, and we have been taught from a very early age that if you want to get something, you need to work really hard for it, it is quite understandable that we will most likely look for partners that need fixing, or someone that requires us to put in a lot of effort in order for us to have a proper relationship with them. Otherwise, we might feel we don't deserve it. It is similar with deserving success in business, for example. There are so many people that work in business and they still feel that if they're not struggling every day, they don't deserve the success that might come towards them. And it's quite similar, and they most times take the same approach in relationships as well. First of all, they want to feel the power that they have improved someone's life and they have that power to change it and uplift them. And also because they feel if they don't put any work into it and lift the other person and work very hard at this relationship, they actually don't deserve the good outcomes of being in a great relationship. And the reason number 6 why we tend to choose the wrong partner for us is because we want to feel safe. Especially if we had anything in our past, such as being left by a parent or by a caretaker, and we felt that very strongly when we were children, that got imprinted, and now we tend to choose partners that might not be the right ones for us, purely because we feel that if the partner is at a lower level than us, there are less chances for them to actually leave us because they won't get anyone better than us. Therefore, you could call this a sort of settling for something less, purely because we don't want to be alone. And this somewhat can touch as well on the self-esteem side of things as well. Therefore, if we have low self-esteem, we tend to enter in a relationship with the wrong person purely because, one, we might not think that we are good enough to deserve anyone better, and second, because if they are at a lower level, again, it is less likely for them to leave. Some people feel this need to be safe in a relationship very, very strongly. Therefore, you will witness a lot of relationships where partners, although they might not love each other as much, they still stick together because it is safe. Let me know in the comments below which of these reasons do you think it's more valid and why. Now, if you want to join a community of like-minded people who want to improve their relationship or just learn more about dating, make sure to join our Facebook group, and I will leave the link for this in the description box below. Also, before you leave, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button if you like this video and share it with your friends.